The bobble stitch shows up a few times in different amigurumi patterns, so I want to show you guys how to make that. You can see this little octopus uses the bobble stitch for its little tentacles. This little turtle uses the bobble stitch for its feet. Oftentimes you'll see the bobble stitch for feet or arms in little chicks, things like that. So it is one that pops up often. You can also use the bobble stitch when you're working with blankets or garments. You'll see that pop up in rows sometimes. So I'm going to walk you through how to do that bobble stitch. The bobble stitch is basically an unfinished double crochet. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to go yarn over. Okay. I'm going to go through the next stitch. I'm going to, I yarn under, but you can yarn over or yarn under. Pull through. Okay, so then you have 3 loops on your hook. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through the first 2 loops, and we have 2 loops on our hook. Now, if this was a regular double crochet, you would yarn over and pull through those 2 and end up with 1 loop on the hook. But since this is a bobble, we are not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and we're going to go through that same hole that we went through the first time. So I'm going to yarn over, go through that hole, grab my yarn, pull through the hole, yarn over. I'm going to pull through those first 2 loops, and that's it. Okay, so now I have 3 loops. My first loop, the first that was on the hook, then the 2 that we just made. Then I'm going to do that again, yarn over through the hole, grab my yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. Okay, so now I'm at 4. So that means I've done that 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then this was my starting loop. Now a traditional bobble will have 5 partially finished double crochets. And then you're working your first initial working loop. So ultimately what you're looking for is 6 loops on your hook before you move on. So I have 5 loops on my hook, but I need to get to 6. So again, yarn over through that same hole, grab my yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull through the first 2, and now I end up with 6 loops on my hook. So at this point, I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull my yarn through all 6 loops. And you're going to end up with 1 loop on the hook. Okay. So at this point, we're going to be going into the next hole. What I like to do is make sure I'm kind of poking out my bobble as I go. So I'm going to now take that into... I'm going to do a single crochet next. So I'm going to go into my next hole, grab my yarn, pull through the hole, and do my single crochet. And I'm going to pull it a little tight. And then what I'm doing is I'm using my finger to kind of pop out that bobble stitch. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. So I'm going to yarn over, through, grab it through, yarn over, pull through the first 2. Okay. And I'm going to do that again. Pull through the first 2 only. Pull through the first 2 only. So I'm at 4 loops. Remember, I need to get to 6 loops on my hook. Yarn over. Pull up through the first 2. Okay, now I'm at 5. And last one. Pull through. Okay, so now I'm at 6. I'm going to yarn over, pull through all 6 of them, end up with 1. Okay, and then I'm going to do my next single crochet into the next hole there. And you'll see this one, I didn't poke it out before I went into my single crochet. So all I need to do is just take my finger and pop that bobble stitch out. And then that way it has that nice little bobbly look. Okay, So now I'm going to show you changing colors mid-bobble. So sometimes when you're working on an amigurumi piece, you're going to be doing maybe let's say you're making a chick and you want your bobbles to be orange instead of yellow with the whole chick. So we'll do our color change here. So I ended with my color. So let's go ahead and grab our next color. And what we're going to start with is a slip knot. Okay. I'm going to put that onto my hook. I'm going to make sure my red here is at the back of my piece. I'm going to take my new color. And I'm going to also make sure my tail and my knot is behind the piece. And then what I'm going to do is, because that's going to count as our first yarn over, now I'm going to go into the next hole. I'm going to grab my yarn, pull up one, yarn over, and then I'm just going to pull through the two pink. So I'm not pulling through the red, just that first pink. So that's going to be our first one. I'm going to do that again, yarn over, through the hole, pull up, yarn through the first two, again, through the hole, grab my yarn, pull up, yarn over through the first two. So I've done that 3 times, 2 more times. Through the first two, up, and the last one through the 2. All right, so now you can kind of see how there's that first working loop and then the 5 unfinished double crochets. Now, because I'm going to go back into the red, I don't want to grab my pink here. I'm going to put that behind. I'm going to pick up my red. Okay. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through all 6 loops and then go into the next one with my single crochet. Okay. And then I'm going to make sure I pop out that pink bobble. And now that is our color change there. So let me finish this. I'm going to go in with another red bobble here. What I like to do when I finish a color change is come to the back here and snip. And then I want to make sure that that's secure. So I make sure my initial slip knot is nice and tight. And then my final string here, I'm going to just tie those 2 pieces together, give them a good knot. To make sure they're nice and secure. And then that's going to be inside my piece. You can cut it smaller if you want to, but that is the bobble stitch. So I'm going to be posting a video on how to make the octopus with the bobble tentacles. So make sure you are subscribed so that you can see when that video comes out. I hope this was helpful and you are ready to go create those bobble stitches. Thanks for watching. Happy crocheting.